Thokoze makhosini amakhulu, emakhosini amahle kwandini Ntokozo. Makhosi uBhubesi lokhuluma nani losuku namhlanje siyaqhubeka-ke nezimfundiso zethu lapha sikhuluma ngendaba zothando. Welcoming everyone to this episode. We've been discussing love. If you missed the last episode, please help yourself to episode 4. This is now the follow-up, and we're continuing with this topic of love. All right, so today we'll be speaking about the 5 love languages. Before we do that, I just want to explain something very quickly. Okay, so if you are male, you must understand that you've got 2 energies in you at all times. It's called dual energies, and we call these the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. Okay, so even if you're a male, you have feminine energy within you, and the same goes for being female as well. You've got masculine and feminine energies. So one type of energy in this dual energy will always be dominant than the other. This may not be the case for every moment in your life, but these 2 energies will always be together, and one of them will always be more dominant than other, depending on which energy is high or which level of vibrations you are at that time. So if you have high masculine energy, then you're operating in the yang energy. So that means a lot of your actions will be masculine. Your gestures will be masculine. Your voice might be a bit deeper than it usually is. Your speech might not be so gentle as or nurturing as that of a female. But if you're in your feminine energy, you might find yourself doing a lot more feminine things. For example, you might find yourself speaking a bit softer. You might be more selective in your choice of words. You might be more empathetic in that particular moment or in that particular time. You might find yourself wanting to listen more, because these are the things that feminine energy enhances. And so we're going to elaborate as to why I'm highlighting this, is because we get males who have a lot of feminine energy in them, and they are male, so they'll have actions such as being concerned with how they look and how they smell, and they're concerned with whether something fits well on them. Do they look handsome, or they want to wear bright colors, they want to stand out, they are concerned about cleanliness um, more than usual, usual in inverted commas, things like that, which are things that a lot of women would do, or one would expect that a woman would be concerned about those things and not necessarily expect a man to be concerned about those things. Then you might find a female who's very much in their masculine energy. They will be able to do things that we would normally deem to be done by men. For example, she might find a way to fix a blocked pipe, for example, or she might want to change a punctured tire on by herself, or she might want to use a toolbox to sort some other thing out in the house, maybe use a flat or a star, for example, which is something that we would normally let a man do in the traditional roles of male and female. So now this leads me to people who identify with a different type of sexuality. For example, there are people who are asexual, there are people who are bisexual, there are people who are gay, there are people who are lesbian, people who are transgender, people who are queer, and people who don't identify themselves as having a gender. Okay, so I would need you to understand why I'm discussing these energies, because those energies largely influence the people that I'm talking about. so that we don't judge people if they choose a different sexuality to what we are used to or to what we deem as normal. We are not in a position to judge other people and judge the choices that they make in terms of who they choose to engage with, in terms of their love life and in their romance, etc. Okay, so here we don't judge people in that sense. And that's why I'm explaining the importance of these energies, the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. Right. So you might find a male who has a female ancestor who's very dominant in them. Okay. So when this female ancestor starts to take precedence at a particular time, you might find that he becomes a lot more feminine. Maybe he's a lot more emotional. Maybe he might cry a lot more than he has previously or that you know him to do. Or he might be a lot more thoughtful than he is. So these are things we need to notice in our partners. And the same goes for if you're a male and you are dating a female and this female has a strong masculine energy, she will not be so dependent on you emotionally or want to tell you about how her day was. She won't want to stress you with her problems. She doesn't expect you to sort them out. She handles things for herself. This in no way disadvantages any other woman who is like that. I'm just trying to give you an example or a few examples so that you can identify yourself and be able to see when you do certain actions or when you speak in a certain way, when you choose certain words, then you understand which energy that you are operating from. Are you operating from your yin energy or are you operating from your yang energy? And the reason why I'm highlighting this is because a lot of the time you might be a male and you might find that the dominant ancestor in you is female. And a lot of times you might be female and find that the dominant ancestor in you is a male ancestor. And ancestors do this on purpose. So what happens is if you're an old soul, you've come back onto the earth, for whatever reason in your past life, you weren't able to spend the rest of your life with the love of your life, with the actual person that you loved. You had to settle for whatever reason. Maybe your lover passed away before you were able to build a life together. Maybe the love of your life chose someone else, chose to be with someone else. Maybe you didn't have the courage to tell someone that you actually have feelings for them and pursue a romantic relationship with them. There's various different reasons why you may not have ended up being with the person that you should have. But in this lifetime, you've come back and you want to correct that. So then this is how ancestors play the role of matching. Okay, so these ancestors will correlate with the universe and they coerce to ensure that the two of you meet, to give each soul a chance that they didn't have in their past lifetime. So this is done, especially if this is very much aligned with one person's sole purpose. So for different reasons, you might have different soul purposes which meet or align somewhere along the line. And the ancestors are trying to achieve a certain level of alignment spiritually, which would require the two of you people to come together. So when we see a female being with a female, or when we see a male being with a male with female, and vice versa, whatever the situation is, or when we see a queer person being with another queer person, or whoever that they choose to be with. So we shouldn't judge them because a lot of those orientations are influenced by matters of the spirit, which are far and above that of our understanding. And so we should allow people to choose their partners and to choose who they want to spend time with and choose who they love and allow them to be free. Okay, they don't need our permission and our validation for them to choose who they want to be with. Every person has the freedom and has the will and has the luxury of choosing who they want to be with and who they want to love and why. All right. And this goes on now into this conversation about polygamy and polyamory. Same situation applies there. You don't know the spiritual influences that have come together to make that type of a relationship exist and to involve the people who are involved in that type of relationship. There are spiritual reasons which are far above and beyond our level of understanding. So we should not judge those people. We do not know what their spirits want for them to achieve by putting them in those relationships. Sometimes there are lessons that each person needs to learn. And so bringing these people together will be able to create a situation where each person will be able to learn whatever it is that they need to learn, that their spirits require them to learn, so that they can evolve and move into a higher level of vibration and become a better version of their higher self. Okay, because people are constantly evolving in this lifetime, and we are not in a position for us to judge them or for us to decide who should be with who and so on and so forth, and start asking questions like, "Oh, how did that happen?" Because all of those questions come from people who operate in a place of ego. And I encourage each person to start operating from a place of soul. Put your ego aside. So when we speak about the love languages, the first love language is respect. Respect starts with yourself. If you respect yourself, naturally you should be able and will be able to respect the next person. Okay, so showing respect to a person is acknowledging them and not trying to strip away their self-esteem and their dignity, trying to make someone to feel small by the way that you speak or by your body language or by a certain action, which shows that you are undermining them, which shows that you do not want to acknowledge them, or which shows that you look down on them because you have a superiority complex and you want them to suffer from an inferiority complex. Okay, so respect is acknowledging the next person and showing them the same level of acknowledgement and appreciation that you would want to receive as well. Okay, so in order for you to be able to do this to the next person, you need to be able to do this with yourself. If you respect yourself, naturally you'll be able to respect other people. The second love language is that of loyalty. Okay, so loyalty means that you understand somebody else's truth and you respect someone else's truth so much so that you understand that when they confide in you, they don't expect to find the things that they've shared with you. They don't expect to find other people speaking about the things that they've shared with you in confidence and without having to say it with their words. You need to be able to achieve a level of discernment and know what to speak about and what not to speak about. As soon as, for example, if I confide in you and the next thing, the things that I've shared with you, I hear them from the next person, then I know that you are not a loyal person and I should not confide in you because you will take anything and everything that I have shared with you and start drinking tea and eating scones over those matters. And that shows a great level of disloyalty. Okay, so loyalty is a love language. It means that you stand with the person, you stand by the truths that they've shared with you, even if you fall out with them and you get into an argument or you decide to cut each other out of each other's lives for whatever reason, but you don't go sharing people's secrets that they have shared with you out of spite. That is below the belt. It doesn't get any more guttery than that. Okay. And this is not a reflection on the person that you think you are bad mouthing, it is a reflection on you. Right. The third love language is that of value. If you value someone, it means that you acknowledge the impact that they have in your life. It means that you do not take them for granted. It means that you appreciate anything and everything that they do for you. Their opinions, their suggestions, you value their contributions in your life. You value their presence in your life. You value being able to spend time with them. You take that as a privilege because at any point in time, people can get taken away from us by the Lord. People can get taken away from us by relocation or by getting a new job or by establishing other friendships or joining another congregation, changing homes, whatever the reason may be. So, valuing someone does not need for you to be living with that person in the same space. Okay, so even if you're in a long distance relationship, you can still show somebody that you value them. You can still show somebody that you think about them and that you care about them, that you're concerned about them. You understand the things that they've been through, you understand how those things have impacted them, and you understand what it is that they want to see for themselves in their lives, and you understand, you've taken the time to unpack what they've shared with you to see how you can contribute positively to that person's life and to that person's vision. So it's great when your visions are aligned because you won't feel like you're doing work. It'll come naturally to you. You'll be passionate about it. That person, you won't need to chase them to convince them that you are worthy of their time, that you are worthy of their phone calls or messages, you are worthy of their gifts, or you are worthy of whatever it is that they may want to share with you. All right. And then the fourth love language is being humble, humility. So that means that you do not suffer from a superiority complex. It means that you don't view yourself as being better than the other person. You view the other person as being equal. Okay, so that is what humility stands for. Some people might even define it further and say that you view the other person as being better than you. You put them on a pedestal. Okay, so I'm not going to say that this is a bad thing, but I would advise and encourage you to view someone as equal to you, because sometimes you can put someone on a pedestal and they get big-headed and they become arrogant, and then they start losing the value that they have for you because they think that you think that they're so great, and they see themselves as being great, and then they see themselves being greater than you. And this has caused a lot of relationships to not work out simply because someone did not understand the meaning of humility, sorry, did not understand what it is to value someone, did not understand how they could respect the other person because they don't respect themselves, did not understand what it meant to be loyal to the next person because they aren't even loyal to themselves. Okay, so everything starts with you. And I'm speaking about these languages specifically right now about how they contribute to your romantic love life, but you can even use them in your other relationships with your siblings, with your parents, with your extended family members, with your neighbors, with the people that you praise and worship with in your congregation, anywhere and everywhere in your area of life where you are at work or within your friendships, etc. Okay. Then the fifth love language that I want to share with you is that of being faithful or faithfulness. But when I speak about being faithful, don't immediately think about being with one person or cheating on someone, etc. When I speak about being faithful, I'm speaking about believing in yourself, believing in the next person, believing that the things that you say to that person, you actually say them that from a place of meaningfulness. The things that you're saying, they have weight, and you are genuine and you are sincere in what you are saying, and that the person that you are speaking to is also faithful towards you, that they believe in you, that the things that they say are coming from a genuine place, that the things that they do come from a place of meaningfulness, and they have weight, and they have good and pure intentions for you. So the fifth love language is that of faithfulness. Of course, if you are faithful to yourself, it also works very well hand in hand with loyalty. You will be loyal to yourself. If you are faithful to the next person, of course, it goes hand in hand. You will be loyal to them because you believe in them. You believe in the things that they've said. You believe in the things that they do. And so much so that when you speak to them, because you believe in them, if they've had a hard day, you even know what to say to them. You breathe life into your partner. You know how to do that. You know how to inspire them. You know how to pull them out of a bad mood and bring them into an air of happiness. This may not necessarily be your responsibility. Please understand. I'm not saying that this is your responsibility to ensure that someone else is happy. Happiness is your own responsibility. It starts with you. But if you have a lot of happiness within you, then of course your couple is going to overflow with happiness, and you'll have happiness to share everywhere around wherever you go.
Guti lava 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 kuye wakanyete. Guti lava 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 wakazimulo nosomhlophe ngazibona nami ngifanele ukungena kuwe ebusuku